bold journalism,
But Drew Hernandez is a strong-minded individual.
exposing lawlessness,
Hernandez, who is ideological,
finding the truth,
and use the word Antifa.
This is what they do.
Battling
They're
mainstream
liars. The woke mob, all they can do is lie.
These are the front lines.
What's going on, thought criminals? Welcome to Frontlines. I am your host, Drew Hernandez. I am joined by the great Tim Pool. I'll just say this one thing. I always say this on the show. I show respect and give respect where it is due. Like I always say, there is no Frontlines without people like Alex Jones and definitely people like Tim Pool.
Wow, thank you.
That is 100% a true fact. Tim, thank you. It is an honor to have you on my show, brother.
Oh, I appreciate it, man.
Dude.
I appreciate you coming on my show.
Dude, it changed my life. I'll tell you that right now.
Oh, cool.
And it means a lot to me. I guess like what Joe Rogan is to you is like what you are to me. I guess I could say that.
I don't know. I mean, I guess
That's how I view it.
Must feel strange for Joe. Just I do empathize because he talks about how he's like, I just want to talk with my friends about stuff, and then all of a sudden it's this big political thing. And the crazy thing for us is coming out to an event like this, and then just walking down the street and having everyone yelling at me. Even our production crew, people know them.
Yep.
We're in Harper's Ferry basically. We're outside the city. We don't leave. We bring people to us. We do the show. They leave. We don't see the reaction of the crowds and the people. So when we do come out to a big event, all of a sudden you can really see the reaction from people. It's very strange. It's like
you see the love.
for sure.
Because you're dealing with hate all year long. I want to get into that. Getting doxxed, right? People literally shooting into the castle.
Those
right?
are our guys.
Right? Oh, they were?
Those are our guys.
Okay, but still getting swatted.
Got to be careful how I say it though.
Getting swatted. You guys have been
15
getting
times.
swatted. People going after you guys. Explain to us what's been going on the past year, because that's been kind of increasingly new with the swatting at the castle.
I mean, since the start of this year, it was the first swatting happened to us with Marjorie Taylor Greene. I think it was the day after she was on. And I think it was, so we do the live show 8 to 10 Eastern. Most of the views come the next day from the clips that we put up and the podcast itself, because people who watch live is like a third of the audience. And then most people wake up in the morning, see the episode, listen to it in their car, listen to it throughout the day. It's a podcast. It's, listen when you want. I think we got swatted because somebody was mad about us hosting Marjorie Taylor Greene. And that kicked everything off. So we've been swatted 15 times. We've had the bomb squad come out twice.
Jeez.
We've had the studio evacuated because of credible threats, because of leaked information and crazy things like that. The most recent thing, which makes me absolutely empathize with Elon Musk, is that what I publicly stated first, because we're trying to keep certain information under wraps. 2 guys broke into my house, smashed the window, climbed in, and I'm trying to be careful, but I'll just say what I can say.
Yeah, say what you can say, man.
One of our guys opened fire on the people, and there's details about what happened that I can't explain, but I just want to stress people. People are commenting like, "Don't miss." I'm like, I can't explain why, but there was no intention to miss. I'll put it that way. So basically, how things went down. The first thing we thought was maybe this was just a random random attack, some tweakers who wanted to loot a property. But then new information came out, and I believe it's more likely that it was targeted. So I don't want to say too much because it could compromise our security.
Yeah.
But prior incidents combined with an additional incident that I've not talked about after this, as well as the fact that this property is, we've gone to moderate lengths to obfuscate the locations of where I live. So there's things you can do, like what Elon Musk did with the private jet Elon has. He registered for something called a PIA, a private ICAO number. That means that every month the number on his plane changes, so you can't track him in real time. This dude Sweeney figured out how to crack the code every month and then post that information. I think it's illegal. He's also said he wanted 50 grand to stop. That sounds like extortion.
Wow.
But so what I was trying to explain,
Literally.
right?
Quite literally.
He went on CNN and said, someone said, what will make you stop? And he goes, a Tesla or $50,000. And I'm like, okay, that sounds like you're extorting him. You're
A billionaire.
You're violating his private information that he's paid for. You're publishing it. That's a threat. That's intimidation. But so if somebody was posting my real-time location in any way, where my car was, where my planes were, and they actually knew where I was that night, I could be dead.
Yeah.
But I want to stress, I don't want to be hyperbolic. I don't know what the motive of these guys was. Maybe it was random, considering a couple other incidents around this property that is not known about. It seems you combine that with, far leftists were posting my address on Reddit, on Twitter. I kept saying that is not the address that I'm at. You're going to get shot. Do not go there. Like we have secured these locations with armed guards.
And they think you're just lying and it's disinformation. And
I think what happened was, well, I just can't say. What I can't say is there's no way, in my opinion, okay, I shouldn't say no way. It is highly unlikely that somebody would come to this property based on what we have there and going on there and who's there and think this is a random residence I can rob because of circumstances around this property. Now there's a bullet hole in the kitchen, and that's the reality of the escalation in politics that's happening these days. I would much prefer to believe it was a random burglary.
yeah.
I think that would be stupid to believe.
Yeah. There's obviously a lot of radicalization talking going on right now. You guys are always talking about civil war on the podcast. It's always a topic that's reoccurring. And I want to talk about the Twitter files with you.
Yeah.
We're at what, number 5 or 6?
Six,
right?
Six,
so
yeah. The big one.
What has intrigued you the most? I know there's a lot. It's a big question, but what are some of the highlights or some of the ones that really stuck out to you the most with the recent drops or out of any of them?
The Donald Trump one, I think, was one of the biggest bombshells we've gotten in a long time. That they knew he broke no rules, and they were desperately trying to justify how they can remove the sitting president from a media platform. Imagine this was 20, 30 years ago, and we're talking about CNN, Fox, CBS, NBC, and the president was going to give a State of the Union or just a general address to the nation. And they said, behind the scenes, how can we justify not letting the American people see what the president has to say? And then explicitly hearing executives say, the president has done nothing to warrant being pulled from the airwaves.
Yep.
And this allotment is scheduled. And then one of the executives goes, I got it. Let's lie and claim he's inciting violence or glorifying it. He said, okay, write it up. Like, that's crazy.
Yes.
Social media is, in our day and age, it's the big 3. It used to be NBC, CBS, ABC, or whatever. Now it's Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube or whatever. And the president is using Twitter as a platform to talk to the American people. In fact, saying, be peaceful, don't fight cops. We are the party of law and order. And they immediately rush in and say, we need to come up with a justification to ban him. That's crazy. Now, on top of that, we had the latest one where the FBI was basically saying, the FBI requested location information on Billy Baldwin, among other people, but like what? As well as they wanted to justify Twitter banning an entire news organization, RSB Network. The FBI contacted Twitter and said, look into this. We want to know if they broke the rules. That is the government, the federal government, law enforcement saying shut down a news enterprise.
Yes.
Now that is crazy.
It is the technocracy, the authoritarianism out in full display. Because, like, listen, it's a huge violation if they're going after the American people, right? Just anyone on Twitter that has like 50 followers, that matters just as much as a sitting U.S. president. But the fact that they did this with a sitting U.S. president and going after some pretty high-profile people is absolutely insane. We have a lot more I want to talk about with Tim when we come back from the break, guys, so stay with us. And we are back with the great Tim Pool, host of Timcast IRL on YouTube all over the place. Tim, one of the things that really intrigued me about the Twitter files, since we're on the subject, is Libs of TikTok. Her case was very specific and interesting as well, because not only did they claim that she violated their hate speech policies, they were literally claiming that the intent of what she was posting was a violation. So not only are they saying what you're saying is a violation of what we believe, what we think or what we determine your intent was of what you said is a violation. Talk about how that's insane as well.
The funny thing is
dictating intents of what they are claiming you said.
That was their official behind the scenes reason. Their official public reason was violation of their hateful conduct policy. But then behind the scenes, they're like, we know that Libs of TikTok broke no rules, because all Libs of TikTok was doing was saying, hey, look, someone posted a video. Here's what they said. And
copy paste.
Right. And this is the crazy thing about all of it. You can tell they know what they're doing is wrong. These groomers and these nonprofits, these activists, because they desperately try to cover up or hide it when people outside of their sphere get wind of what they're doing. Right? So they put out a book in a school that shows gratuitous sexual activity and then deny it. if they really believed in it, they'd say, what's the problem? We're proud of this. They're not proud of it.
Yes.
So libs of TikTok is simply granting a wider audience to what they're already doing, and they freak out when people find out what they're doing, despite the fact that's in the public. So Twitter says, well, libs of TikTok is indirectly breaking the rules, not doing anything wrong, but the intent is to, create incitement after the fact. So, we think that's a suspension. It just goes to show that these people at Twitter were never honest. They never had any intention of creating civility. They had every intention of maintaining a political ideology.
And Tim, you've always known that, okay? Like when you were on with Rogan, going head to head with Jack Dorsey and that hack lawyer, that I remember that was one of the main things that you said that always really stuck with me when you told them you guys are creating a protected class on your platform with a clear bias, and they were sitting there acting like what you were saying was crazy. But not only is that problematic, right? And that's like segregating on a digital platform, but it also protects a certain class to be able to do whatever the hell they want if they want to turn around and dox you and go after their political opponents. So my question is, now that you've seen all of this coming out, post really going head to head with freaking Jack Dorsey and these people that were doing this, like, does it hit a little different to you because you were actually like talking to them, calling them out, and now that you see the receipts, it's like, damn.
You know what I did? The first thing I thought when the receipts came out, especially with the Twitter files, was regret. It seems so obvious in hindsight to have just asked them, have you been in communication with the government about shutting down accounts or banning individuals? But back then, nobody even thought the government was involved. And that's so stupid. I feel like I'm so dumb because whether we thought it or not, I should have just at least asked the simple question. I guess we really didn't think it was possible.
Yeah.
Or at least I didn't. And so I look back and I'm like, man, I really wish I asked that. Now that Elon Musk has taken over, he's got some pretty wacky policies too.
Yeah.
But it's infinitely better. I don't know if you saw Oliver Darcy of CNN tweeting, Donnie O'Sullivan's being allowed back on Twitter, the CNN reporter, but only if he deletes a tweet. And then everyone was like, holy crap, did Oliver just learn right now how suspension works? He's the CNN lead media reporter and he did not know. It was, I can't remember who said this, Mike Solana, I think his name is maybe. He said, we truly were working on two different platforms the whole time.
Yes.
When CNN didn't...
It's like a dual universe.
Absolutely.
It really is, yes.
So it's hard to look at, I feel like we've crossed the desert. Elon Musk has taken over. There's some new challenges ahead. Twitter just announced they're going to be banning, accounts that directly link to competitors. There's some questions about that policy.
What do you think of Taylor Lorenz's ban?
I think it was a long time coming. Taylor Lorenz has broken the rules so many times and nothing ever happens. And Elon said it was a temporary suspension. I think it was a 24-hour suspension for doxing. And I said, okay. He let her back on the platform.
That's not free speech.
You
can't dox people.
But legally you can.
Uh-huh.
But this is a conversation I had with Michael Knowles, I think is a really important one. We agree on moral lines. You're allowed to go out into the public under the Constitution and wave around someone's address. Okay, that's a whack move to do. On social media platforms, even Gab agrees. They're like, our rule is the First Amendment, except doxing. And I'm like, I agree. Like, sharing someone's real-time location or home is unnecessary and expresses no political viewpoint. The only purpose is to intimidate.
It's a clear indication that go to this person's house and...
You're putting them at risk for no reason.
It's like saying it in a different language, in my opinion.
So there are limits. Legally you can do it, but I think we all recognize doxing. Like everybody's basically like doxing's bad. Except, of course, this is the difference between, I think, the right and the left in the culture war. The right is like, we understand moral lines like doxing. And the left says, oh, we do too, but they don't. It's all about power. So they scream, it's a private company, they can do what they want.
They're willing to break their morals in order to win.
They don't have morals. And I say
but
generally
they do
speaking.
in a way. They do in a way. They have like their own religion, Tim. You can't say certain things. You can't appear a certain way. Even the climate change thing is a cult.
But
they do have their own.
Yes.
When I say morals, they're not real. They have their own cultish
right.
rules.
Like
right?
it's a facsimile of morals, but it's actually, we have a power structure you're not allowed to violate.
Yes, that's what I mean. Yeah.
Whereas the right tends to be like, we're trying to be good moral people. And I'm not saying everyone on the right, everyone on the left. I'm saying tendencies.
Yeah.
So libs of TikTok can get doxxed. Taylor Lorenz can dox multiple people and then be like, doxing is so awful and cry on TV, but then dox people and be like, it's just reporting. No, that's not how it works. So Elon Musk comes out and says, You're all the same. You're all citizens. Journalists aren't special. Mic drop.
Yeah.
Good.
Let me ask you this last question. So Elon has been making statements like freedom of speech doesn't mean freedom of reach. And he gave a very specific kind of like illustration of what he meant by that in his tweet. And he said, if you're in Times Square and you're sitting there screaming, saying whatever you want, that's fine, but we're not going to put you on a billboard and amplify what you're saying. You're in Times Square amplifying what you're saying. What do you think about those statements? I think they're problematic. I think they're pretty interesting.
You think Elon's wrong?
I do.
I think
I do.
these are difficult moral questions, right? I tried to put up a billboard in Times Square saying Twitter protects pedophiles, and they told me no landlord would allow that. And I was actually surprised that the agency was like, we'll get it done. I said, can we say, what if we say groomers? And they were like, we'll get back to you. And they came back and said, anything related to pedophilia is not allowed. And I was like, okay, well, we tried. I feel similarly with Twitter, right? Twitter has no obligation to use their resources to promote anything unless you pay for it. And then when it comes to paying for stuff, maybe they don't want to put certain messages on a billboard. The question is, can you say things on the platform as a general citizen and not be de-amplified by it? So if Elon starts shadow banning and deboosting people, we got a problem.
Yeah.
And
he already said that's going to not go away on specific tweets.
Right.
Which I don't like at all.
So my view of the Elon stuff is basically, it's a new billionaire who's taken over. We are still living under the whims of a billionaire, the same as with Jack Dorsey. But admittedly, it's a better billionaire. So I'm not really happy in the end, but I am happy with the positive changes we've seen.
Yeah. We'll see where it goes. Tim, dude, honor to have you on my show, man.
Oh, thanks.
If
I
you're
appreciate
not, if you don't know where to find Tim Pool and you watch me, I would be absolutely shocked because I reference Tim all the time. But Tim, just for those that might be on Real America's Voice that have never watched you before, where can they find you?
Timcast.com, youtube.com/Timcast, Timcast IRL on YouTube. There you go.
Well, there you have it, guys. We are in the middle of a culture war for the soul of this country. My name is Drew Hernandez. These are the Frontlines. I'll see you guys on the next one.